Ooh, it's another bald move production in motion. Launch of Jim and A.Ron. I am the A.Ron part of this equation.
I'm the Jim part.
And I entitled this the Hangover Holidays Extravaganza. You know, it's Friday. A lot of people are still
trying to get rid of my hangover.
Yeah, but put the hair on the dog, man. That's the best way. I thought we could talk about some of the Christmas loot we got, maybe catch up because we haven't really talked a lot in 10 days.
Yeah, I've been in California.
A lot of stuff's been going on, I'm sure. And then, of course, the Q&A app is enabled. And is it enabled? Pretty sure it's enabled. It's enabled. So when we get to a lull here, we'll start taking comments and questions and whatnot. If you don't know how to use the Q&A app, there should be a little strip at the bottom of your YouTube viewer that says join the conversation. You click on that, and it should unlock the ability to post questions to the stream. So there you go. Jim, you get any cool stuff for Christmas?
Sure. I forget the name of it, the board game you gave me, which we need to play sometime.
Few Acres of Snow, yeah.
A Few Acres of Snow.
Is that hoodie new?
Hoodie is new, yeah. My girlfriend's parents gave this to me.
Just do it, man.
Yeah, it's a really nice hoodie. It's fits really well.
Feels is it a
really
coded
good.
message? What are they wanting you to just do?
I don't know. I didn't read that far into it. None. Maybe I should have. I don't know.
The sleepless nights begin now.
Yeah. Thanks a lot for that. That's the worst Christmas gift I've received is the sheer terror of imagining what the hidden message behind this hoodie is.
Sure.
I got some Star Trek related stuff over the holidays. So maybe the most useful thing I got is a Star Trek robe, which is so it's a robe that is like the yellow goldy version of a Star Trek uniform, like the original series.
Is it because
like super cool?
In one season, Kirk was running around with one of those things where it was like a double-breasted deal. Is it like that?
It's just like that.
No way.
I mean, it's not just like that. It's more like the uniform, like the standard uniform. But it's super cool, and it's awesome because I'm a nerd.
Sure.
One, and also because I've been kind of talking to my girlfriend about how I wanted a robe. Just for lounging around in.
Is that what I'm going to be treated to in the studio?
Yes.
You're just like,
yes,
it's gone from pajama pants to now it's just going to be robe, no pants.
Sure. Yeah.
All right.
I'm just going to Sean Connery it up. Robe on top.
We've talked about
pants
that.
On bottom.
We've talked about that. The possibility of Sean Connery, which if you don't know,
let's just call it Connering.
The Connering. That sounds like a horror movie. The Connering.
you look into a mirror, say his name 3 times.
Fortunately, I give us 1 chance in 3.
And his character from Entrapment shows up.
But one of the things I got from Ivan Reitman, I believe, a director commentary for Red October, is that apparently Sean Connery is a sweater, which I can understand.
Sure.
I'm a sweater myself.
I buy that.
And in a lot of his scenes, when they were in those cramped submarine sets, he was sweating and he would just take his pants off because he's filmed from the waist up, and that helped him deal with it. This was later confirmed when I was watching some behind the scenes stuff with Indiana Jones, and Harrison Ford mentioned it.
Yeah, I think it's in the one where they're in the blimp.
The blimp.
I forget the name of that one.
He whipped off his pants to keep from sweating in that tweed jacket and hat, and Harrison Ford is like, well, fuck, I'm not gonna wear pants either.
Yeah.
And as far as you guys know, I could be not wearing pants. Which is relevant because the Bald Move Studio in the
I could actually be wearing a tube top here, and you might not even know.
The Bald Move Studio, especially in summer, gets hot as balls.
Yeah.
Because we shut the door to block out any external sound.
We've got lights, we've got computers, we've got all that stuff going.
98.6 degree bodies and very poor circulation. I could totally do the Connering.
Okay. Don't please. All right. I'm still here.
Well, I'll make a deal. I'll wear pants if you do.
If I don't wear my robe.
This is mutual assured destruction.
Yeah, definitely. So that was super cool. I also got some Star Trek socks, which I haven't worn yet. It's a theme going on in the California gift giving scene. Star Trek.
Star Trek.
Yeah. So I thought those were pretty cool.
Well, I think that California and their the rush to become a utopian paradise, they heard about the Star Trek economy, Star Trek based economy, where it's, you know, basically matter replicators and infinite energy being prosperous and all that stuff. They took it a little too literally. And now the official currency in California is Star Trek memorabilia and merchandise. So you might have gotten a little bit of that.
Are you saying my robe was replicated?
Oh, I'm saying it was made in a sweatshop in China and used as
that's
currency on the streets
effectively
of LA.
Replication, right?
Except for on free energy, it runs on human misery.
Sure.
How that would be funny.
That's the dystopia in Star Trek.
Every time Earl, you know, Patrick Stewart said tea, Earl Grey, hot. There's some Cardassian child labor that they're squeezing the water out of his body to make it.
I thought you meant Kardashian for a second. I was like, what?
That's not a crime. That's a victimless crime.
Sure.
Employing Kardashians.
Yeah.
Let's see. I got the big ticket item is I got a PlayStation 4.
Sweet.
And
who gave you that?
It was kind of like a combined family gift.
Okay.
So several
combined family gift.
Yeah, instead of
that's awesome.
You know, I'm not making a lot of money right now, so instead of getting me like a bunch of useless bullshit, the people like pitched together and got me a PS4.
Cool.
And I got a couple of games, which is cool. And my girlfriend's mom got me a waffle maker because, as you know, I'm a pancake guy.
You gonna be a waffle guy now?
Yeah, and it's hard because I haven't got it dialed in at all. The waffle recipe is essentially an oilier, thicker pancake, but to get the consistency just right, so you don't get like gaps in the waffle grids and it's not soggy and all that stuff. I haven't really got it dialed in yet.
Betty Crocker, just go grab her stuff, or whoever, Aunt Jemima, whatever she's got.
Use a kit.
Sure, you can. Kit. That's what I would do.
I still think, well, that's a thing. Like I used to use kits to make pancakes, and the efforts were less than impressive. So I'm just trying to tweak my waffle recipe to get it there.
Definitely the most useful thing. I forgot about this. The most useful thing I got was a Chipotle gift card, because that got used the day that I came back.
Yeah.
Like just immediately. I got off the plane. I was like, Chipotle.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually that was on the hot list of gifts to give you, and I was going to like get a label made that said Burrito Town instead of Chipotle to put on top of it.
Awesome. That's what we call it internally at the Baldwin headquarters. Head
over to Burrito Town and get yourself a burrito. So I've been playing a lot of video games. I love video games. I don't get to play a lot. It's been a Steam sale. I'm a huge Infamous fan, the PlayStation 3 series.
Yeah.
And I got Infamous Second Sons as a digital download with my PlayStation 4. And it's really cool. It's one of my biggest problems with Infamous was I thought the main character was kind of a chode. I mean, he's just like this nondescript hero from a Guy Ritchie film, kind of. They fixed that in Second Sons by essentially making the character Jesse Pinkman.
Yeah. He's actually Troy Baker. If you follow
that
video
blew
games.
My mind.
Yeah, Troy Baker's in like everything now.
Because he was Joel from The Last of Us. He played the Joker in the latest Arkham City. And
he's the new Nolan North.
And now he's playing like a pitch perfect Jesse Pinkman.
Yeah.
But it's set in upstate Washington originally. You're actually a Native American kind of Inuit.
Okay.
Heritage. And you're from like one of those reservations or those towns, and you flee to Seattle to kind of figure out why you're a conduit. It's like, one of those stories. It's like 7 years after the last one, and the United States has become like a totalitarian regime because they're concerned with bioterrorism. Stop me if any of this sounds like really ham-fisted commentary on surveillance states or anything like that. But it's cool because they're it's the like one of the flagship things for a new console. So they do a lot of really weird stuff where like this guy's a graffiti tagger. So there's a lot of like flip your PS controller sideways.
Those stupid gimmicks.
But it's kind of neat because the PlayStation has controller has a speaker built into it, and like when you shake it, it makes like a pitch perfect paint can rattle, and use the triggers that the spray paint walls and stuff, and you can get good or evil karma for doing that.
That's awesome, but man, that stuff gets old so fast.
It's already getting old. Yeah. So it's like, the third or fourth time you do it, it's like, no, just come on.
It's like, what was that horrible dragon game that came out when PS3 was brand new? Like, crap, I can't remember, but you controlled the dragon by using the motion controls.
I know what you're talking about.
The 6-axis.
I want to say it's Diagiza, but it's not.
No, definitely not.
Or Panzer Dragoon. It was in that.
No, that's not it. It was something more akin to like, it was like a single word, and I can't remember the name, but it you know, nobody played it because it was terrible.
Yeah.
The controls were rotten because they were trying to use this gimmick, and
right.
Ugh. I hate that stuff. Just use the stuff that works, not the stuff that is fancy and new.
Sure. But I've got a couple hours into that. I'm playing Shadows of Mordor a lot.
Nice.
I feel like I'm about halfway through that game.
That's a good game.
That game.
Yeah, I played that game all the way through. But with my experience with Shadows of Mordor, I was playing Batman, Arkham Asylum, and Arkham City right before that.
Oh,
so when I like literally, I went from those two games straight into Mordor. I got burnt out on that combat system real quick.
I can understand why, because Shadows of Mordor is the Batman mechanic.
It's exactly that, but it's a little bit sloppier. I feel like just slightly sloppier. Because they really dialed in the Batman stuff in game number 2.
And they punish you. Like, if you go to do, like, one of your standard attacks on the wrong opponent, not only do you break your combo meter, which allows you to do... If you've never played the Batman game before, the really cool thing about it is it makes you feel like Batman, because you can drop into, like, a ring of 30 thugs and just wreck them in really creative ways, but it's all based on you flawlessly executing these button presses.
Yeah.
And if you screw up and you hit the wrong button on the wrong enemy, it breaks your combo meter. You usually get punished for it. Mordor, it's like, I can flail. I mean, it doesn't do anything. I can flail a whale at one of the guys that got a shield with my sword. It doesn't break my combo streak. It builds the combo streak. And as long as I parry his counterattack, it doesn't punish me. So I've been able to rack up really epic counters with that.
Yeah. Yeah, I just didn't feel like the combat system was as tight. I'm not a big fan of the Assassin's Creed style, but like I feel like those two systems meshed really well together.
I thought so too.
Overall.
Because that's one of my biggest critiques of Assassin's Creed is that I feel like the combat is a little clunky.
Yeah, it is.
And it's only fun to assassinate. This, like, by marrying Batman with the assassin, you know, because it's essentially it's an endless stream of assassinations against orc chieftains is the game.
Sure.
In a nutshell.
Until you get to the point where I did, where the Nemesis system, the board is completely wiped out. There are no more war chiefs to kill. You've killed every single person on the board, and the world is just your oyster at that point. You're Scarface snorting a mountain of coke.
See, I did that. I got like halfway done, and then I screwed up and ended up dying.
Yes, they all get replaced.
It's like
that's awesome.
It advances time, but like when you've got that much stuff built up, it's like watching an hour's worth of WWE because orcs are just raw and stepping up and killing each other, and the whole board's changing. It's like
it's really cool.
Pop some popcorn. Have you noticed that like some of these guys just keep coming back? Like I've killed the same dude like 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
And he gets more every time he comes back, he gets more and more mangled.
I'm not sure how I feel about that. Like I don't know what the lore is on Lord of the Rings. Do like orcs get resurrected somehow? Is there a factory pumping out orcs?
I know for a fact there's a factory pumping out
like
orcs.
Stitching together
we saw them.
The pieces of old orcs and like I don't know.
Well, so it's weird if I do like a fatality on one of these guys, because there's some gruesome ones where you can like just chop off their head. They turn into like a shrine of skulls and their head on a pike. If you just kill them, they're dead on the ground. It seems like when you kill them, they're dead on the ground, they come back. But this one guy, every time he comes back, they're more and more gruesome and scarred. This guy essentially is a burlap sack with a loincloth now. With big iron clamps holding his face together. It's pretty horrific.
His new tagline, "Why are you picking on me?"
Yeah, and he gets more and more powerful as he comes back too. It's just weird.
Yeah. I like the system where if one of those guys kills you, then in your friends' games, the revenge option shows up where you go to avenge their death and kill that guy. Yeah. It's really cool. And
you also can get like the vengeance kill for yourself too, because there's like a little token over their head if they kill you. And I love paying those fuckers back.
Yeah.
But that's cool. Now you don't give a shit about lore, but this game, like, how do you spend 20 hours playing a video game where you don't understand a story?
The mechanics are so good that I just through the whole thing. I just button through all the bullshit.
That's
all the bullshit, meaning Lord of the Rings mythology. Don't give a fuck. Also, this story is not good. Like I didn't button through the whole thing, but like halfway through, I was like, nope, I'm done with this, and I buttoned through the rest of it.
I haven't decided whether or not it's good. I'm enough steeped into the Lord of the Rings stuff where like I get like the big reveal of who the Wraith actually was. I kind of blew my hair back.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I haven't decided whether it's good or bad. It doesn't feel very middle.
The main character's milquetoast. Like he's like, I don't feel super awesome when I'm playing him, other than the fact that I'm doing super awesome combat stuff.
No, I feel like it's the game shines when you're just using the Wraith powers, like especially the long distance where you can shoot a bow at somebody and then instantly teleport to where the arrow hits and decapitate them. Just never gets old. Well,
I went in and I mind controlled all the war chiefs.
I haven't gotten that yet.
Like, I'm just gonna mind control you guys. So I started at the bottom because I was like, okay, I'm gonna clear out this entire board of Nemesis guys.
Did you brand the entire board?
No. So what I did is I would brand all of their underlings, and so when I went in to fight the war chiefs, the underlings would just do most of the work for me, which worked really well.
Yeah, I like releasing those tiger things, the Kranagans or whatever. That's my play.
Yeah.
Because they're like wrecking machines.
Crack corns.
Yeah, for what the orcs have a hard time dealing with them.
Caragors.
Caragors. Wow, see, you did read a little bit of lore.
I remember
they're all wheelbarrow. I like the lore, but everything's wheelbarrow to me. Shall we get some questions? And then I'd like to talk about Destiny too, because that was the other surprise.
Oh, okay. I've been playing a lot of roguelikes lately. Like Rogue Legacy is a phenomenal game.
Don't have any questions yet, so let's continue to talk about. We do. Wants to know, Wes. Not sure if you've had much time to watch new movies in 2014, but did you guys have any favorites from last year?
Interstellar was great.
Interstellar was awesome.
The most recent one I saw.
I haven't seen a lot of usually in January and February, I go and see a lot of the Oscar contenders. But I don't have a lot of money this year, and it's expensive to go to the movies, so I don't know what I'm going to do. Like
is Dallas Buyers Club this year? Because that was an incredible movie.
Well, it's last year for Oscars. I think it came out in December of last year.
Okay.
But it's not going to get any awards this year for sure.
I mean, I definitely saw it way after it came out in theaters. I saw it, just downloaded it or whatever.
I thought Dallas Club was interesting. It wasn't, and Matthew McConaughey, I don't know why it's so impressive for actors to put on or lose an enormous amount of weight. But
it's not easy to do, I guess. I mean, it's, do you respect Christian Bale more for doing that stuff? I certainly do.
Do you?
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. If I'm an actor who is worth millions, and it's my job given 12 weeks to lose a ton of weight, or to gain a ton of weight, and I have access to anabolic steroids and the finest doctors and fitness experts known to man,
and a home gym that's pimped out with the latest and greatest.
That's to me, acting is about like, transforming yourself into a character, and I guess the physical transformation
does help. Yeah,
it helps, but to me, it's like that's like Oscar bait, and I don't understand why. Because you think the people in Hollywood understand the availability of home gyms and nutrition and fitness,
but I feel like it's only those actors who are just really engrossing themselves in the role who are doing that stuff. So it's not like you get fucking the guy from Twilight bulking up or cutting a bunch of weight to get into his role, because he's not that good of an actor. He doesn't really care. That's the thing about Christian Bale, Matthew McConaughey, those kind of guys who do that stuff. They really care about being that character, not just acting like that character. They want to be that character for a while.
So that's
why I feel it's valuable. I don't know.
There's a Wes Anderson movie that I wanted to see. I forget what it's called.
Moonrise Kingdom?
No, that was last year's, which is good. I
don't know what it's
kind of like the Darjeeling Limited. It's that kind of feel. Crap, I can't remember what it's called. I want to see that. There's a new Paul Thomas Anderson out that I want to see. Birdman with Michael Keaton. That looks pretty cool.
I can't get past the costume. I can't get past a grown man wearing a costume with a fucking beak on it.
You didn't like?
Can't do it.
You didn't see the classic Condor Man back in the 80s?
No.
That was gold.
And
I
would have given double birds to that.
This is like if all this is a rated R version of Condor Man, I'm in. I actually think it's a bit more complicated than that.
Okay, I hear it's great.
I saw Into the Woods this weekend. I took my kid and my girlfriend to see that movie. Blue.
I don't know anything about that movie.
I guess it's a Broadway play, but which I usually am all in for. But it is like a mashup of Little Red Riding Hood, Cinderella, and Jack and the Beanstalk, where all these are happening in the same town.
Okay.
And then you've got the various Princes Charming and Chris Pine.
Grim. Once upon a time, Grim.
No, it's because it takes the material kind of serious. Meryl Streep is the witch. Chris Pine plays Prince Charming, and he's really, really funny in it. But it's like, one of my biggest pet peeves in entertainment is tonal conflict. And this thing is this lighthearted puff piece that then just tries to go fucking heavy at the end. And I'm just like, nah, get the hell out of here. Get the hell out of here. You can't have this thing turn into a after school special. With 30 minutes to go. No, I'm out. So yeah, I don't know. I've seen a lot of superhero stuff.
Yeah, I've seen none of that.
I know, because you're not into that.
No.
Guardians of the Galaxy was a really, really fun time.
So here.
I think you got like the first Iron Man, Avengers, and Guardians of the Galaxy as far as fun superhero movies. That's pretty cool. Yeah, it hasn't been a big year for me for movies so far.
No, me either. We've done so much with TV that I feel like I don't even want to bother with movies for the most part.
Moving on to E. Brown. The Wire is streaming on HBO Go and HD now. We'll be getting some Bald Move covered soon. Define soon, because...
How do I point to you on this camera?
There you go. It's doing it. You're actually pointing to a liquor cabinet, but through the miracle of split screen. I don't know. It's not coming up in the next couple months because I'm super busy.
Oh God, we're super busy through the end of May.
Yeah. Maybe the summer lull. Maybe the summer lull is when I get to the first season of The Wire. But it's amazing. Have you seen any of it? I didn't think I'd get a chance to see any of it.
The HD version, I haven't. No.
I watched like 3 or 4 episodes on December 26th after the kid went to bed. It's glorious. Like, I fully expect... David Simon wrote this like 30,000 word essay on his website about how, the process of converting this 4:3, and his friend was the director of photography who died like in this middle of season 4, and they continued to do the 4:3 in his name, and how this gave it the intimate documentary feel, and how
wow.
Yeah, no, he's like committed to this thing being 4:3, but at the end of it, he kind of says, but we worked really hard on making the widescreen high def version work. There's only a few scenes where it really still irks me that some of the framing is messed up. And I kind of expected to, the 4:3 version is the version of The Wire that's the original, and that's the way you should see it in standard def. But man, I'm too much of an audiovisual whore. And the HD stuff is tasty.
Standard def, it just looks terrible now.
Yeah, no, like...
I get the 4:3 stuff, right? His boxes within boxes sort of...
Which I don't understand, like, why...
style, but...
I would have been... That, to me, everyone wins. If you've got this in 35 millimeter, then just do a letterboxed, only on the side version if you want to It seems like his biggest beef is the aspect ratio screw ups. Seems like everybody wins if you just make it a 4:3 version in high def. That being said, I love the widescreen version, and I've yet to see a single frame where I'm thinking, oh, this is fucked.
Boxes within rectangles.
And the other thing is interesting is Simon said when he was watching it, some of the scenes work better in widescreen, because there's like a couple scenes like this is kind of a spoiler, but if you've never seen The Wire, it will mean absolutely nothing to you. When Sabatka gets killed at the dock, and all the dock workers it kind of has this big crane shot of them standing around looking at his body. It's like you get a better feeling of isolation with more of the screen, because they're just this tiny ring of guys standing around this dude. And he said that actually worked a lot better in the widescreen. So it's like, the one he mentioned as being a a major detraction is I guess there's a scene where Weebay is talking to D'Angelo, and they're framed at this fast food place, and there's a neon sign that says burgers over D'Angelo, and Weebay it says hot dogs. And they're said that symbolically that means Weebay is a tough one and D'Angelo's soft. He's like, chopped meat.
He's a weenie.
Well, but that's the thing. Like, I don't know. That's like, I don't know, David Simon. You're a genius and all.
But the signs are still in the same place, right?
Well,
like having a little bit extra on the sides is not.
Yes, I know.
Detracting from idea that
that's
these
the
are
one
them.
that he highlighted on his blog as being a problem. Like, I don't know.
Simon, I don't know, man.
I don't know that that's a huge problem because number one, I never got the symbolism.
So I don't buy any of those arguments. The one argument that I do buy is that it is a tribute to his to the DP or whatever.
Yeah.
That's fine. I think that's awesome. If you continue in the same style that he established, great. The other arguments, like, what does adding a little bit extra visuals on the side change? I mean, symbolically, the boxes within boxes stuff, I guess, doesn't work quite as well. Now you've got boxes within rectangles. I don't know exactly what that's supposed to mean, the box stuff that he's got going on, but he does do a lot of it. I just don't know that it makes that much of a difference.
Yeah.
Especially to the average viewer, right? Like, I mean,
when you're talking average viewer, I've heard more than a few people be turned off. And I was almost in that category.
People who just won't watch it because it's in low def.
I got the box set of The Wire when I first saw it. My friend gave it to me, and I'm like, "Yeah, I've been hearing about this from Jason Whitlock and Bill Simmons and my friends, and I've got my Cavassier and I got my fine steak and I got my Wire, and I started up, and it's like, this is not good. It's grainy and it's in
like
the wrong aspect ratio.
If you took all of the CG in, let's say, Guardians of the Galaxy and replaced them with Muppets, be like, this changes the film fundamentally.
Right. And it took me a while to get into The Wire, and The Wire is tough sledding anyway.
Yes.
So I feel like anything you can do to reduce the barrier of entry for people like that is a good thing. So but yeah, that's the update on that. Freddie C wants to know, have we gotten to the Binding of Isaac yet?
Nope, I don't think I ever will.
Really?
I understand that it is somewhat roguelike. I understand that it is a fun game, but I just don't think I'm ever going to get to it.
Well, I got it. So me and Cecily are thinking.
Did you get Rebirth, or did you get the?
Yeah, I got the Rebirth version.
Good.
So I've got it. I got it on Steam because it was on sale for like $4.99 or something.
Yeah.
Pulled the trigger on that, and it's co-op. This is one of the reasons, because me and Cecily are always looking for games we can play together rather than just taking turns. So I'm kind of excited to try that. I will report back.
If you like Binding of Isaac, there's a podcast I listen to called Lostcast, and they made a game called A Wizard's Lizard, which is similar in a lot of ways.
I've seen you play Wizard's Lizard.
Yeah, it's fun. Has some frame rate issues, but other than that, it's a lot of fun.
Let's see. Cal Jr. wants to know if there's any New Year's resolutions we have.
I don't know. Especially as regards Bald Move, we haven't got back to work yet. I feel like that's one of the first things we're going to do in the new year, is sit down and kind of say, what do we want to do with Bald Move this year?
Oh, see, I thought he was asking personal.
Yeah, I'm going there.
Okay. It's like,
so
this is getting deep.
Yeah, there are two layers here, right? There's Bald Move and there's personal stuff.
Sure.
Bald Move stuff we haven't talked about yet, but that's coming up. Personal stuff, no. I mean, I'd like to get in better shape. That's about it. But that's everyone's New Year's resolution. Everyone who's ever existed has had the New Year's resolution: get in shape.
Well, so I got in really good shape about 4 years ago, and that's my year. I've set other goals for myself and achieved many of them, but that's my goals. Like, I've gained back like 35 pounds that I had lost, and certainly my cardiovascular fitness went from running mini marathons. I don't even know I could run a mile at this point.
Yeah.
So that's what I started doing, is I've got a morning routine that I've lined out.
A morning routine, Jesus.
Yeah, it's just a series of like push-ups, sit-ups, squats, and pull-ups.
Yeah.
That I can keep track and like, progressively get bigger and bigger, or not bigger, progressively do more of. And it's just like
those
body
are the
weight
ones
resistance.
You want to do, yeah.
That's something you can do in like, nail in 10, 15 minutes and get to baseline, because I want, my goal is to run like a 5K every other week starting in the spring.
Wow.
That's not that sounds impressive.
That's
but 5K is not that big a deal.
No, it's not, but that's a time commitment, like that's no joke.
You can run it. I mean, that's the thing. You can bang out a 5K in like 30 to 40 minutes. So the big thing is that they can get expensive.
So you're not talking. Wait, you are talking about events.
Yeah.
Those take far more than 30 or 40 minutes. You got to drive to the thing. You got to wait for the setup. You got to. I mean, it's gonna take you hours.
No.
Oh yeah, hours.
No.
You're crazy. You're crazy, man.
But the thing is you have to show up at like 7 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Is the way to go. But I've been steadily getting up at that time all this year anyway, because I got a kid I got to go to school.
Yeah,
I got a girlfriend that gets up to go to work, so it's like I'm up anyway. But yeah, I'd like to do that, because I feel like if you're running 3 miles or so 2 or 3 times a week, you're in pretty good shape.
Sure.
And you got the energy level you want. It's not, especially if I take off 20, 30 pounds, it's not going to be as hard on my knees, because I tried this last year without losing the weight first and getting a basic level of fitness, and I just destroyed my knees. And every time I'd get my lungs in, that my knee would act up, and then I'd have to go back and take a week or two off. And it's like this war of my aging joints and my fat ass breaking my body down and my lungs getting able to handle the load.
Ass first joints.
So that's a new YouTube series coming to Bald Move Network. I'm going to videotape my entire progress. Running in a Speedo. So yeah, that's what stands.
Why, it's the winter, my God, man. Why would you do that?
I'm a sweater. Did I not explain that? The only way I can possibly run a 5K is in 30-degree weather in a thong, or else it's just I lose more water than I can possibly take in. It's like a sieve. So stay tuned for the Bald Move Evolutions. Let's see. Dan G says, what shows are you most excited about covering this year? Well,
not new shows, just shows.
I've got a bunch. Mad Men, because
final season,
can Matthew Weiner stick the landing?
Yeah. That's a good one. I feel like I'm really interested to see where The Leftovers goes now that they're out of book.
That's one that I'm kind of really nervous about.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking forward to it in this kind of like car crash sort of way. Potential car crash. Like you go to the race because you want to see cars drive fast and do awesome stuff, but you also kind of go to see the crashes.
Sure.
That's how I feel about The Leftovers. I'm nervous too.
I put True Detective in the same category.
Okay. Vince Vaughn, the casting of Vince Vaughn makes me nervous about that.
I'm not so bothered by that, but I thought one of the unique things was you've got a writer that wrote the whole thing and a director that shot the whole thing. And now not only are they changing up the director, but it's going to be different directors. So, and it's like, I don't know that you can follow that up. So I'm kind of I'm not looking forward to it. I'm more nervous. Same thing, Game of Thrones, honestly. I'm very nervous about how they navigate into the post George R.R. Martin. Like, we don't have the books. We've already made some controversial changes. Now that we don't even have that to guide us, what's it going to look like?
Yeah.
How patient is the audience going to be with that? How are the book people going to react? Again, that's something I'm looking forward to. It's just I'm more morbidly curious to see how it will go.
I feel like they will still make a great show on that. I don't know if it will have the same density of plot. I think they might try to like water that down a little bit, stretch it out more. Ooh. Because like you said, they're not working on a scaffolding here anymore.
The thing that concerns me is that they seem pretty committed to wrapping this up in 7 seasons.
Okay. I think that's a good idea.
If I was hearing them saying like, wow, we've talked to George and, we're going to have 8 or 9 or maybe 10 seasons of material, I would be more excited because that implies that there's a lot more cool stuff going. To me, them saying that we want to be out in 7 seasons, I'm kind of, this is just me as a worrisome fan. I do this sometimes. I hear that and I wonder, is that code for we're not really confident in the back half of the story, so we're going to try to compress it and get the big points over as quickly as possible and try to, make this epic in our own way.
Yeah, this is very different, having books that kind of just abruptly end in the middle of a series, because with most series, I would give them the benefit of the doubt and say 7 seasons is the right amount of time for any TV show. You
got 7 books, 7 seasons.
Okay, sure. I'm even like throw the books out and say this is an entirely new IP. Yeah. Like 7 seasons is not an abnormally long TV show.
Right.
It's not a short one, but it's not a long one. 10 seasons? I don't know of many shows that go 10 seasons, especially serialized dramas. Like there are very few, if any, that I can think of that have gone 10 seasons. That would worry me more, given the status of the books, or given that like the books aren't involved. With the books involved and the creator of the books involved, I have no idea.
It's kind of like so like if in Harry Potter series, 7 books, there was 8 movies.
Sure,
and they actually split the last book into 2 movies, which whatever. But what if like at the end of the 4th movie, so at the end of the 4th movie, if they'd say, we talked to J.K. Rowling's and we're going to make this a 6 movie set, even though there's 7. That's kind of like, to me as a book reader, I'd be like, oh my God, this has got a terrible ending that they're just trying to, because the books keep getting bigger and bigger, but then they're going to just condense all that into,
or they feel like maybe the books getting bigger and bigger is just filler. It's not super important. And so they condense it.
There's definitely an argument to be made for that.
Kind of like Lord of the Rings.
Well, I mean, honestly, the last Dance of Dragons, while I've grown to appreciate it, both that and Feast felt a little bloated. But like they could have used an editor to, and he
maybe Martin's getting a little too successful.
Well, he falls in this pattern where you get this like 20 pages of a character's internal monologue / travelogue where they're walking through this area, getting to the next destination, and
does he write the lyrics to the songs?
No, there's
if not, I'm out.
Very little singing, and which reflects in the show, because apparently the only 2 songs that exist in the Lord of
the Bear and the Maiden Fair
is the Bear and the Maiden Fair and the Reigns of Castamere.
Yes,
but he gets this thing where like you'll have a character that's walking around for 20 pages, and then a massive cliffhanger happens in the last paragraph.
And then he goes.
Then you go to another same thing. By the time you wrap around to that other POV, it's the aftermath of the cliffhanger. And then they're talking for 20 minutes about what that meant to me, and and how does this square with my life philosophy, and how does this change how I view the world, and then massive cliffhanger. And it's like that's kind of got a little old.
Doesn't feel like there's a resolution there. Like he doesn't describe the actual events that take place. He describes the things that happen around them.
And it's, again, that's maybe not even a fair criticism, but it's the one I'm given.
I don't know. I am also super nervous about Game of Thrones. Just from what I've heard about you, I've not read the newer books.
You haven't read any of the books?
No, I haven't read any of the books. So it's like, I've heard you say that things kind of slow down. We focus on different characters, stuff like that. And I'm a little worried about that, because if we lose Tyrion, if we lose Tyrion and Littlefinger, I don't know what else I'm in that for. Arya, I guess. Arya is a big one. So I'm a little worried about that.
All right. Well, we'll have to mildly interesting speculation there, Jim. I will say, so like, I haven't seen the 2nd season of The Americans.
I have
to get that. I have to get that watched before February,
seen it all. Yeah.
Or I think before the end of January. And of course, I've had a lot of time off, so it only makes sense that I have marathoned Banshee.
What are you doing?
I don't know. It's my odd little way to procrastinate.
It makes sense that I watched all of The Deadliest Catch.
What? Banshee's awesome, man.
I'm sure it is. It just doesn't pertain to anything we do.
No.
You watch.
There's no way you could do a
TV.
podcast on Banshee, because it's Banshee's essentially this dude beating the holy hell out of 2 or 3 people every episode.
I love it. That's perfect.
And every 3 or 4 episodes, they get into a set piece gun battle, and then in wash, rinse, repeat.
It's like MacGyver, but replace the awesome science stuff with beatings.
Yeah. Instead of him thinking his way out of it, this guy punches his way out of it.
Perfect.
And here's the interesting thing. So in the first season, they set this up. This Banshee, I believe this all takes place in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
That's because it's some rural county that is in Amish County, but also there's also, and I don't know if this actually there is a place that's like this, but you have Amish country butted up against an Indian reservation.
Okay.
And I don't know if this is, I meant to research this before we talked about it, because I was going to bring this up in the next TV with Jim, or the TV cast. But hell, I'll just wing it. I don't know that this is a real Indian tribe. I think it's a fictionalized version of an Indian tribe. That's my feeling.
I won't even ask you to pronounce it.
I think it's Kinawa. No, you're right. I shouldn't. I was about to say the weird rice, the quinoa.
Sure, quinoa. Quinoa.
That's not it.
The Native American quinoa tribe.
But it's about the internal politics of that, and there's also the internal weird politics of the Amish people, and one of the big bads is this guy named Proctor, who is a excommunicated Amish gangster
from the Brown Rice tribe. Yep.
Oh no. And that was really cool in season 1, and I was really liking exploring those two different worlds. Season 2, it opens up with a Amish boy running off with an Indian girl, and one of the Indian girl gets murdered. And so the Banshee police, the fake police chief, because he's not really a police chief, he's actually a criminal who took the place of the police chief. This is very convoluted.
How do you take the place of the police chief without people knowing?
That's an ongoing plot point. But so he goes, then they're like, well, we need to go talk to the guys over in the reservation. And the county sheriff, his like deputy lieutenant's like, look, you can't do that. We have, without a federal warrant, you can't just go in and start busting people up on an Indian reservation. You can't do it.
All right. So please tell me that the episode that he does do it is called Off the Reservation, because if not, it's a failure of a show.
No, I think it's called The Warrior Way or something like that. Warrior Class.
See, I have no interest now.
He goes, so they're supposed to paint this particular Indian. He's this big, massive physical specimen, and he's got like a prison record, and he's all about like purity of the Indian blood and his tribe, and they kind of make it seem like he's a prime suspect for murdering this Indian girl because she went off with one of the white Quaker boys or Amish boys. But they mount up and to go on this reservation, and the whole time I'm like, I started rooting, like, the heroes are wrong. Like, you can't just go on a reservation and start busting people up and arresting people, and the whole time people are like, you know, this is an illegal arrest. I'm like, yes, that's right.
Yeah.
But no consequence comes from it. Like, the show itself doesn't seem to acknowledge how weird and fucked up that is.
Yeah.
So it's starting, like, I'm at the tail end of season 2, and it's starting to lose me because I'm starting to sympathize with who I'm supposed to root against, I think.
Is that what they're trying to do? Or
I don't know, because
it's that smart of a show?
They did the same thing with, well, it's not a smart show.
Okay.
But they did the same thing with that Proctor guy, where he's supposed to be a villain, but then you learn that he's an excommunicated Amish guy, and he's kind of the protector of them.
That's the uncle.
But he's also got this
Amish
really weird sexual relationship with his niece, which I guess you could explore that in some kind of valuable way, but this feels like it's just boner material. So, like, anytime they get the scene like that, I just want to take a long shower, not like, you know, cooling myself off like Comet Ajax scrubbing. I feel dirty.
Sure, yeah.
But the fights are so good, man. The stunt work is amazing. But yeah, that's all right. I'm not excited to cover it. I'll probably talk about it on Bald Move TV because it's coming back for the 3rd season, I think in January on Cinemax.
Yeah, no, I'm excited about the Americans as well. I need to catch up on season 2. I saw a couple episodes, but gotta get the whole thing in.
Frackin' T said, what do you guys think about Marvel's slate of movies for the next few years? Is the superhero bubble going to burst before they make them all? You don't really care.
For me, the superhero bubble burst around the time of the Avengers 2. Like, I just don't care anymore. I saw the first Captain America. I saw 1 and 2 Iron Man. I saw the Batman, the Avengers. Right? I saw all the Batman. Yeah.
Why is it burst? Why do you not like superhero movies? This is kind of something that I know this about you, but we've never really discussed it. So
I don't really know that I can articulate why.
Well, this is going to be a great conversation.
Yeah. It has something to do with the same reason I don't like fantasy. It's just like, although I like superhero movies a lot more, I just feel like there are too many of them at this point, and I'm just not that invested in these characters.
That's weird, because it'd be one thing if you said there's too many of them, the quality is suffering. And I get what you're saying, when it comes to Thor.
I hear that they're great.
Yeah, like Guardians of the Galaxy was amazing. It was.
But is it amazing when I'm a nerd who loves these characters, or is it amazing when I'm just a moviegoer who doesn't even know
Guardians
these
of the Galaxy?
Characters?
Like,
really?
No, I mean, that's like, it's a Z list. Like it's
like Birdman. I couldn't even tell you who Birdman is.
I don't believe anyone that tells me that they were a fan of Guardians of the Galaxy before the movie was in. Even our buddy Eric, who was repping this movie since he heard it being greenlit.
Yeah,
I don't think he was a Guardians of the Galaxy fan so much as he was a fan of the guy who made the movie, and then he started reading about the
Marvel fan,
the lore, and like started getting exciting. But no, I mean, I didn't know anything about the Raccoon or Star-Lord. I still couldn't tell you the names of a lot of. I could tell you Groot and the Star-Lord, and that's it. But it's just a really entertaining film. Just like I didn't know much about Tony Stark as Iron Man.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know. A lot of times I'm not in movies just to be entertained, and I feel like that's what the superhero stuff has become, is just entertainment. It's no longer the commentary that it was when it was in book form, which interests me a hell of a lot more. Like when you say, okay, these characters are dealing with social issues that are super pressing at the moment. That's cool. When you say these characters are going to go shoot a bunch of people in space, I'm not on board with that.
So
that's why I like Interstellar, because it makes you think. That's why I like movies like that, because they're asking questions, they're dealing with social issues, stuff like that.
Well, so that's the interesting thing about the modern Marvel is Marvel's always been about that. Like DC's always been about the mythic, godlike, just pure good and evil, and Marvel's always been about let's explore racism.
And I like that
70s
in their comic
and
books.
homophobia in the 90s and all this stuff. And in the modern era of Marvel, they've talked a lot about what is a post 9/11 universe look like in superhero terms, and what is patriotism running amok look like, and what does it look like when you have a bunch of superpowered people that start to question what it means to fight for truth, justice, and the American way.
When have they done that? Is that recent?
That's the thing. That's what I think Fracken's alluding to, is they're starting to move into what they call the Civil War era of the Marvel universe. And they got a little bit in that with Captain America, the Winter Soldier. And
I didn't see. That's the second one?
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
It's really excellent. And that's these next Avengers are supposed to get more into that. And that's going to be after they get the Age of Ultron stuff over with. It's going to move into that. So I'm kind of interested to see how they go with that kind of like light social commentary, because obviously it's not like watching The Wire or Interstellar or anything like that.
No, it doesn't need to be. I mean, it's I want a movie to be entertaining, but I also want it to have something else in it.
But I don't know that the bubble, because what Marvel seems to be doing very well is serializing all this, so everything feeds into another. It's kind of,
I like
but
that.
Lightly, kind of, because it's kind of reminds me of the old, matinee type serials where, there's 20 parts of Flash Gordon. You don't have to see 3 and 4 to dig 5. You can drop in and out, and there's enough kind of tying together. You don't have to see every one of them. But I feel like that's kind of addictive. And as long as they do 3 or 4 a year, and they all kind of feed into each other and they all prop each other up, that this is just a money factory that they can only kill by starting to. It's going to be interesting to see how they survive the characters aging and recasting, because part of the brilliance has been they just perfectly cast these people.
Sure, Iron Man, Tony Stark. I mean,
when Robert Downey Jr.
brilliant in that,
hangs up the helmet, what do you do?
I hear he's only in for like another one.
Yeah,
and that's it.
Yeah,
like the Avengers.
Same thing was is it Evan Peters, who's the Captain America guy?
No, I know his name. It's not Peters. Chris Evans.
Chris Evans.
Yeah.
He's like the, and he was the Human Torch over in the other franchise, but he's like the perfect Captain America, I think.
Yeah, he's great. I love number one.
I think that's where Marvel's going to have a real crisis on their hands. And also, how are they going to get some of the more interesting characters like Spider-Man and X-Men, which they don't own the rights to? How are they going to get them back into the fold or evolve their storyline to not include those iconic characters?
I don't know. I mean, I'm just in the boat where the spectacle of it all doesn't attract me. Like that's what I feel these movies have become, is spectacle. Like let's take a look at, it strikes me like the Phantom Menace, except with decent writing. It's just not doing anything interesting for me, so I'm not in.
All right,
but I get why people like them. I mean, they're if you like these characters or you like the universe that they're in and you like how serialized they are, I think that's a great way to go. I get why people like those.
Have you ever, Freddie C wants to know, read Scalped? It's a comic series about Native American organized crime. Me either, but it sounds interesting. Sounds very relevant to my Banshee interests or waning interest in the case. That's the other thing, is like some of that stuff seems a little offensive too. But the other funny trope about Banshee is if there's an attractive woman on screen, the lead character will have sex with her within 2 or 3 episodes, probably standing up or sitting on his bed and she's straddling him. I mean, it's like Cinemax does sex like you're either standing up or you're sitting upright. I don't know why that is, but that's the way they do it.
Well, when you're in that good a shape, I guess you want to make things interesting.
The one other thing I want to talk about before we leave is Destiny.
Okay.
My son has been hounding me to get him Destiny because I won't let him play Halo because it's a mature rated game, and I have to kind of balance between, like, I wouldn't really care if he plays Halo. But and I don't know why it's M rated, probably because of language, and I guess things get a little rough in Halo 2, which I've never played. I've only played Halo 4.
It's the Cortana stripping scene. And
she is like essentially a nude character. But Destiny is essentially is Halo that's T-rated. Okay. And I've heard nothing but kind of lukewarm praise to heavy criticism of the game. But I got it for him because I intended to give him the PS3, and you can play it on both versions and the characters carry over.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you get it, buy it on one, get it for free.
And you got it for free until like right about now. So I got it and I watched him play quite a bit and I started getting into it. And I don't understand why everyone hates this game so much. It's like a really, really solid shooter in an interesting science fiction setting with some, I think, non-bullshitty MMO stuff bolted onto it. And maybe that's the thing, because I've never played an MMO, because just like I say no to heroin, I say no to MMOs. And
including Eve, which if Eve 2 ever comes out, you and I are both getting on that day one, man.
Yeah. And
day one.
And I've heard that Eve is a pretty good MMO because you don't have to grind, or you do, but you can like tell your guy to grind and log off. And when you come back on, he's been grinding the whole time.
Yeah.
And I haven't played a lot of modern shooters.
How much did you hear about this game leading up to its release?
Nothing.
Okay. That's the difference.
It was the hype.
Dude, if you weren't hype for this game, I imagine it's okay. If you were following this game during the time of its promotion before its release, it had a $500 million budget. It was supposed to be the most impressive game ever made.
They essentially had to remake Halo. The Bungie team had to remake Halo without using the Halo IP, which is tough. Sure.
I mean, you bring in some artists who have maybe a slightly different perspective and get things done that way. But I mean, the scale of this game was supposed to be impressive on every level. And that was the marketing machine, saying like, you will never encounter someone with the same weapon as you because there are so many options and so many things to do and customizability. And none of that came to fruition.
Well,
it was
could
all
be true, but like in the sense that this guy's got a Mark 28 pulse rifle and you've got a Mark 17 pulse rifle.
Sure.
Like there's only like 7 different types of primary weapons, 7 different types of secondary weapons.
And people just, when they saw what the game was and they knew what the game was supposed to be or was touted as, the disparity between those two things was monumental. And that's the reason that so many people say this game has no content whatsoever. So I feel like if you didn't buy into all that hype or you didn't hear about all that hype to begin with, then you probably appreciate the game a lot more.
And the other thing I appreciate is that
the core mechanics are great from what I hear.
They are. It's like one of the best feeling shooters I've ever played.
Yeah, they say it's better than Halo, but it's in the same universe as Halo.
But the other thing about it, when people say that, is like, I haven't had, granted, we're only like level 15 on one character, but I haven't had to grind. I've just played story missions and a few, like the first time a patrol area. So do you know how that works?
No.
Each planet has like a story track where you have to go to different locations and solve the unlocked next parts. But there's also like this big open patrol area where you just wander around and you do whatever. And there's like random missions that spawn. There's random public missions. And whenever one of those are unlocked, we go there to try it out. But like I have yet to grind, and I don't think I will have to grind to get to the level 20, which is where people say the game really begins, whatever the hell that means.
Yeah.
And everyone said that like Peter Dinklage did a terrible job as the Ghost character. I don't agree. I think he did. They say he phoned it in, but first of all, his voice is passed through a heavily modulated kind of robot effect, and he's a robot.
Yeah.
He's a robot. You can't expect Tyrion from the Game of Thrones. Like he's not that. He's a goddamn robot. And he's there to deliver the plot to you, because that's the shakiest aspect of the game. The plot doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, I say the story is shit.
They drop you in the middle of something and you kind of have to uncover it as you go. But I don't know. I'm having a lot of fun with it.
They from what I've heard, and I haven't played the game, so I'm going to, bow to your opinion on this. But from what I've heard, all the missions are basically the same. Go here, get your robot hooked up to a computer, fight things off while the robot does his thing, while Peter Dinklage talks to the computer, and that's it.
But I mean, you can say the same thing about Infamous. You get a phone call, you go to this billboard, and guys show up, and you have to beat them down.
People, yeah. So I don't know. For people who've been playing MMOs like for a long time, maybe this is a factor. But I think there is more variety to missions. It's not just this one style. I know. But it's still, they have stuff where you go. They have collect missions where you go and you collect X amount of these things. Go get beaver pelts or people don't really like those. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Then they have like escort missions, which I fucking hate.
Yeah.
I hate escort missions. But they have a variety of types of missions. I feel like, from what I've heard, Destiny doesn't really do much of that.
No, to me, it's like each individual session is a finely crafted. The levels are pretty unique, and the terrain and the way the enemies attack you is the variety. It's like essentially 100. It's kind of like you could lay that like Battles of Westeros, right? It's the same thing. You just move plastic pieces around, you shake, and you roll the dice.
Yeah.
What makes it interesting is the different units and the different terrain, and that's what Destiny. Everything is like you got different cover and different terrain. I thought I was going to be bugged by the fact that the planets are not different at all. Like whether you're on the moon or the Earth or Mars or Venus, there's no differences in gravity at all.
Yeah,
but it didn't really bug me, because there's a lot of difference in the way the terrain looks and behaves and the characters
and the art. It's a beautiful game.
It is beautiful, especially on next gen hardware.
Yeah,
but I don't know.
I feel like maybe if it was something other than just this base defense every single time, it might be better. But I haven't played it, so I don't really know.
Yeah, I feel like if you, like me, are kind of new to modern shooters and have never played MMOs, maybe it's like the perfect crack.
Yeah,
but like same thing with Infamous. Like I always beat Infamous. I always play it good, and I go back and play Evil because I have so much fun with the mechanics.
Yeah,
I can't wait to get my guy leveled up to where I can go back and try one of the other classes and do it all over again. So anyway, this has been the video game cast. Let's take take a couple more things here, and then we got to get out of here.
Okay.
Keith F.
Oh man.
Amy, who is Keith's wife, loved the Anne of Green Gables podcast you made for her. You guys are pros. Even though it wasn't your favorite movie, you did a great job covering it. Whole family was cracking up Christmas morning listening. I am relieved to hear that because we were scared. I hate making and of course we didn't like hate that movie, but it's
just totally not our thing.
Yeah, I hate the idea of like someone says, "Do you like X?" and I'm like, "Nah." Like Frackin' T asked me on the forums the other day, like, how come you guys don't talk about Battlestar Galactica? Because like I fucking hate it. I hate that show.
I have this complex also where I hate taking money for a product that I don't feel is super valuable.
Sure.
And so when someone pays us to do a movie that I don't love, I feel like I'm not delivering what they wanted.
Yeah.
And so I feel like taking their money is not warranted. And so I'm really relieved to hear that.
Yes.
That you guys enjoyed it.
Yes.
I was deathly afraid of that podcast.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, it took me 2 sessions to finish that movie.
Sure.
Because it's a 3+ hour movie. And I was like, oh God, I'm an hour and 15 minutes into this. How am I ever going to slog through the rest of it?
Right. But no, that's super cool to hear. Let's see. Keith also asks, ever thought about recording and releasing as a podcast of lunch shows? I miss most because of work. You really could do it with no edit, just record and release.
1 question per caller. Keith. No, I'm kidding.
Well, the thing is like, so every month we send out, and I'm about to send out probably this weekend through these Subbable and the Patreon streams, the archives. And I know you can watch the lunches. You don't have to attend them live. So you just can't ask questions and stuff. And I believe there's a lot of apps where you can just stream the audio from the YouTube.
Oh, okay.
Right. So
probably, I don't know.
The problem with the lunch of Jim A.Ron is we'd have to download it and then rip the audio and then encode it and then re-upload it. So you're going to add like, 30 minutes of work probably to each one. And I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but like we're already at the margins where some, coming up in February and March, we're really going to be strapped for time to even do the core business stuff that we need to do to keep Bald Move moving on top of the content we produce. So what I'd like to do is figure out a better way to kind of collect and archive this stuff so people can just browse it and then, and maybe recommend a technical solution if you want to turn the YouTube into an audio. Because I know there's like Android's got tons of apps where you can just do that. You don't get the video, you just get the audio component of it.
Yeah, maybe we could do that in the forum, in the VIP section.
Yeah.
That might be a good
That's weird about the VIP because that's subbable as well.
Yeah.
And I don't want to have like a VIP Patreon, a VIP Subbable.
Just need to unite this all under like a Bald Move club.
That's
sort of deal.
That's one of the goals for 2015.
End goal I would love to have at the end of 2015.
Club Bald Move. It's not Subbable. It's not Patreon. You go right to Bald Move and
it gives you access to everything for one price.
Yeah.
None of this tiered bullshit.
Yeah.
Because that, honestly, the logistics of maintaining these tiered systems on multiple platforms is just getting to be a nightmare. So we'd like to switch to that. But yeah, I don't know. Not really gonna do that as a podcast, I guess.
Yeah, because it's the other thing is we'd have to figure out a way to make it.
Plus, a lot of the stuff we do is visual, because this is a video show.
Except like, this one, we've just been sitting here like lumps.
Yeah, this is an exception. But like, if you go to the Halloween episode, the pumpkin carving stuff, you definitely want to see that. Like Christmas unwrapping gifts and stuff. This show is more primarily video. Mm-hmm. We want to keep it that way. It's something different from podcasts. So,
and let's see. I think that's it. I think that's it for this episode of Lunch with Jim A.Ron.
Okay,
we'll be back with another one next week. And I don't know, when does Justified come back?
January sometime. It's either coming back on like the 8th, which in that case I need to get to watching, or it's
I'm all caught up on Justified. That's the one. The one that the only thing I have to really catch up. Oh, January 20th. You still got some time.
Well, what about the Americans? The Americans might come back soon, right?
No, the American comes back end of January, I want to say.
Does it? Okay.
American season 3. God, if it comes back like 2 weeks from now, I'm in trouble.
Yeah, you have 2 seasons to watch. I just have 1.
No, I've got I think I only have the finale of season 1 to finish.
Oh, really?
So I haven't like done nothing with it.
Huh.
January 28th. Yeah, I got a whole month. I can do that. No problem. I can knock that out in a weekend.
Yeah, I will be knocking out Justified in a weekend.
Also, I started Peaky Blinders.
Oh boy.
I'm watching everything but what I have to watch to get the thing done.
I do that too.
It's also weird because I don't know. I can't remember the other reason because there's some stuff I try to watch with my girlfriend because she likes to watch it with me. Yeah. But I can't do that with everything. So like I have to make decisions like, okay, you're out on Peaky Blinders. Sorry, babe. Sorry, babe.
I'm gonna leave you in the dust.
You're out. But sure. That's the other thing I started watching Peaky Blinders is because Kelly and Tom are going to start covering it on Up Yours Downstairs.
Yeah.
And I said, if it's good, I wouldn't mind like sitting in once a season to do like, guest cast. I did the Lawrence of Arabia cast with them and it was a lot of fun. So
yeah, I like Cillian Murphy. I should probably get on that.
It's interesting. The pilot I thought was going to go like one of the all-time great pilots, like Up There with the Shield for a mind-blowing twist at the end.
Huh.
But then they went back on that twist, and I'm not sure how I feel about that. And it soured my enjoyment of the second episode too. But the nice thing about Peaky Blinders is one of those weird BBC things where it's season 6 episodes. So you're 2 seasons behind, but that's not even a full season of American TV. So who cares?
Sure. The other thing we gotta do is get this Christmas shit out of here, man.
It
is no longer
gone.
Christmas.
Monday, it's gonna be gone. We're boxing it up. So
we're burning it. We're setting on fire.
No, we're not. Yeah. Say goodbye to the Bald Move Christmas decoration. We're just gonna revert back to the regular Bald Move stuff.
Cool.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us.
Happy New Year to everybody.
Happy New Year. We'll see you next week.
Big things in store for Bald Move, I hope.
Yep. Yeah, me too. Bye-bye.